So I'm Harrison Nealey. My company's Industrial Arts. I do a lot of custom metal and wood furniture for bars and restaurants and um, private residences, just sort of a variety of different clientele. But when Charles Carpenter and the rest of the folks over at AIGA approached me about speaking, and I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and just sort of came up with the idea of just, telling a story of how I got into building furniture, and then I realized what was really important was all the people that were instrumental in the furniture and everything that I do make, as far as, from first time I learned how to weld to first time I used a saw and all sorts of other tools. So just want to go through a little bit of that, and I'm going to do a quick let's see, there we go. So mentorship, if there's anybody out there that's not familiar with it, there's a lot of different components to it, but there's a mentorship it's not a one-way relationship. So it's always sort of ebbing and flowing, both between whoever's involved, but it's a relationship that's built on trust, and usually there's folks that have some kind of common interests or goals that will attract two people or two groups together that want to bounce ideas off each other and share strengths and weaknesses, and it's like a friendship, but there's more invested in it, because the foundation is built on trust and seeking something greater. There's a lot of sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's like things banging around and shifting behind me. A lot of the times, with mentorship, you have an opportunity to drive each other to seek a goal that is beneficial for both parties involved, or however many people are involved. So that's a little bit of the the background. Pretty much anybody can be a mentor, but the folks that you'll probably recognize as mentors immediately would be like teachers, or somebody you work with, parents, or another family member, like an uncle or a grandma or grandpa. They have some kind of quality that is more than just association. Like there's some kind of mutual interest that bonds you, and obviously professionals are going to be mentors pretty frequently, because they're the ones that are going to be able to give somebody the best information on a skill that one might be interested in. So with all my furniture and stuff, I sort of, I absorbed a lot of information from a lot of different places. I didn't start off with furniture. I actually started off sort of in the bicycle industry. So I worked in a lot of bike shops. And after 3 or 4 bike shops, I ended up in a bike factory, YETI Cycles in Golden. So I was out there doing some pretty cool stuff. But some of the folks that are my notable mentors would be Mark VELAT. He used to be a manager at Bicycle Village, not Bicycle Works, and now he's one of the owners over at Campus Cycles over by DU. Gloria Henderson and her partner Karen Stark were my business teachers in high school. SHAWN SWAGERTY was the he was the machinist and the assistant welder when I was working at YETI in the early 2000s. And then Matt Feeney is one of my oldest friends. I've known him for 25 plus years, and we've done a lot of projects together. So I'm just gonna jump to the next slide and give a little more info on how all these folks were mentors to me. So here's a little shot of Mark. Looks like he's doing a bike to work mid-ride mechanic repair for somebody. When I was working with Mark, it was actually my first job in the bicycle industry was working under him. But I learned to talk to people about bikes, you know, especially knowing what what information to get from the client or the customer to decide what level of bicycle they needed. Like if they're just cruising around town or doodling, or you know, if they wanted to do a little more cross country trail stuff or get heavier and do downhill, then there's just different qualifiers that he taught me to look for and to ask to get more information, to, you know, give the customer options on price points and so forth. He taught me to, you know the product, know the different bikes and everything that were available to sell, so that when I was selling, I could be confident about, you know, either this is the right bike for you, or this bike is good but you're going to grow out of it, or this one's expensive but it'll last you longer than the other ones. So he gave me a lot of not really workarounds, but sort of alternative ways to work through a situation in sales to make the sale, honestly. And if I didn't know something, and I needed to talk to him or anybody else on staff, I didn't feel funny about it. Like it was, you know, everybody was part of a team. So the goal was to sell a bike. But he taught me a lot, and that was my first introduction to working in a retail service type industry. This is the only picture I could find of my high school business teachers, but these ladies spent 3 years with me through high school at Dakota Ridge in Littleton, and we did quite a bit of extracurriculars, but these were the only 2 business teachers, so I basically spent 3 years with them, and they did a lot with me. And they currently have let me go back if I can. Oh, they currently have a website called Education Get Real, and they have like some like books for teachers and stuff. So there's a little link on there. So here's SHAWN from YETI. This was a picture that that's that guy that he was kind of a perfectionist. He was kind of a jerk. He lets you know both of those things, but he just had a really big heart. So yeah, keep sneaking along. There's my buddy Matt. 25 years in the game together. He looks a lot older now. That's like baby face Matt. But if you've been around Denver for a while, I know, Charles, if you're out there, you know about Magnet Mafia, but we started a magnetic street art collective together, and we involved as many folks in the community as we could. We did a lot of painting events, live painting events, and we distributed artwork pretty much from Denver to Australia to South America to Austria to Japan to, I don't know. We hit as many countries as we could with the folks that collaborated with us, and it was always a community effort. But Matt's been my guy for a while, and we have a crazy relationship. But the way he's a mentor to me is he's a guy that's done a lot of things. He's experienced a lot. He's gained a lot, and he's lost a lot, and he's able to share those both of those gains and losses, and it's been helpful for me just to sort of, I guess, stay grounded somewhat. Like I'm an Aquarius, so I get pretty dreamy sometimes and sort of lose track of things. But he's there to stay on top of me for when I get a little out there. Some other folks that are also my mentors. DEMAREST is an artist that I shared studio space with. He works with aerosol, oil paint, and acrylics. He's done a lot of stuff around town. Dan SJOGREN, SHOWTIME Industries, is a furniture designer, mostly woodwork, but when he needs metalwork, he comes to me. We have a really good relationship. Scott BENNETT is another furniture designer. I've done a lot of steel work for him as well, but he's since pulled all of his metal fabrication in-house, so he's got to keep those margins tight. And Rick Griffith from Matter, which some folks at AIGA are probably also familiar with. I've known him for probably about as long as Matt Feeney and I started Magnet Mafia. I think the first event that we attended in Denver was a zine fest at his old studio on 21st and Market before he was in the spot that he's at today. It was right next to Undankin. Rick is an amazing fellow. His little slide on DELTON. This is him doing an Obama magnet for the DNC. He's just a hard worker. Like you could tell him to go to sleep and he'll stay up for another 5 hours just to paint a 5x5 square canvas just to get it dialed in perfectly. So he trusts his craft. He knows his technique and how to do different styles. Like he's shown me trompe l'oeil and just he knows a lot about different rendering techniques with different mediums, which for most visual artists they sort of get into one and then just stay there. But he's always jumping from one to the other depending on the client. He does a lot of illustration work, so I've always been inspired by that. And he's tried to show me some things, especially when painting murals, because we've done a handful of murals together. But he's just the master. If he's not the master at it, then he works at it until he's satisfied. And I think I take that to heart myself. There's old Showtime grinning in the shop. We've been working together for quite a while, actually, and I think for as much as he's a mentor to me, I'm possibly a mentor to him. Like we have, I mean, I do metal work almost solely, and he does solely woodwork. So a lot of the times when we talk about things, I just have a completely different perspective on either logistics or fabrication, and we will frequently have conversations where it's not really a push or pull. It's just like a complete different train of thought, and I think we learned a lot. Excuse me. I think we learn a lot from each other when we have those conversations regarding our common crafts. And there's Scott. Scott and Dan actually shared space for a while, but Scott is still in the same location, I believe, off of Washington, and he is cranking out the production work. He's been fine-tuning his pieces for a number of years, and I think that the way that he's sort of mentored me is just by he listens to a lot of, or he has in the past, he's listened to a lot of my issues with logistics and timelines and things that he's also experienced doing work on his end. And I think he's one of the main guys that I've talked to about from the design perspective about doing production work, like multiple pieces of the same design versus singular pieces of a design and then having to start from scratch. He's had those same growing pains, and he's always been there with a reassuring text or email, just saying, like, you know, it doesn't come quickly or easily, but if you stick with it, you'll get there. And that's always been really inspiring, because I mean, you see HOUSEFISH stuff all over town, whether you're at Park Burger or Novo Coffee or up in Boulder at one of the multiple restaurants up there that he's done stuff for. And I think he's got a bunch of stuff up at UNC right now. So having folks around you that do more or better or seem to be more successful is helpful for me specifically, just because it makes it real when I see other folks do it. So let's see, who else do I have on here? Rick's tab is short and sweet. If any of you guys out there know Rick, I think you can agree that he's pretty passionate about everything that he does and says. He's honest. And any time that I've felt like I didn't have, not, I wouldn't say didn't have anybody to talk to, but I didn't have the right person to talk to. And for some reason it was Rick, because he's like the man of all trades. If I needed to talk to him, he'd pencil me in, and he'd hold me to it, and we'd drink some whiskey and talk for hours, and then I'd feel better. But he's always shown me a lot of love. So thank you, Rick. And I think most folks can probably imagine that their parents are mentors if they're engaged with their life. So they shared their knowledge. They showed me their interests and what I was interested in most of the time. They always motivated me to do as good as I could, specifically with school. But I mean, even today with my business stuff, they want to see me succeed. And when I was growing up, they had little businesses and side hustles that they did. So they're on the list of mentors. Something that goes along with mentorship is you never stop learning. You don't have to stop learning. You may have a relationship with one mentor or one person that you sort of reached your capacity with, but there's always going to be somebody else out there that you can learn from and feed or teach. So there's no reason to stop with one person or feel like you're done. You can always learn something from somebody else. And collaboration it's that thing that drives so much in society, where people work together. Can't really do stuff by yourself. Doesn't matter if there's 25 hours in the day or not. So collaboration is always good, and mentors, whether you're on the giving end or the receiving end, feels good from both directions. And there's just always room for improvement. So got a couple more slides on here, and then we're just about done. Here's a few links for different local programs that you could either seek mentorship from or offer mentorship to. I think Girls Inc. There's opportunities to offer mentorship to girls. They're right on Colfax and Federal. The Commons on Champa accepts mentorship and offers it for businesses, entrepreneurs, people trying to develop a product or a concept. Center for Visual Art, it's part of Metro State, but they do a lot with artists. Obviously, they have a lot of artists come in from outside of the school community, and actually had the opportunity to go and talk to some kids that were graduating last year. GRASP is a gang rescue program for troubled youth, to sort of get kids out of the system and off the street, and get them into some positive programs that will engage them with the community versus attack the community. And Urban Peak is a homeless shelter, so there's opportunities for outreach with homeless kids in Denver. And my last slide is for any of the folks out there that donated to the presentation today. The money will be going to Family Star, which is actually a school that my sister-in-law works at, but they do a lot of amazing work for underprivileged youth in the Denver area. So a lot, I think is 40% of the kids that go to the school are homeless. Like their parents live out of cars or hotels, or they don't have permanent housing. So there's just a lot of programs and stuff that they do for folks that are impoverished in Denver. So thank you all. That was my presentation about mentorship, and hopefully I didn't ramble or sound too boring.
Thank you, Harrison. Now, it is not boring. There is all about point of view, and that's why we like Morning Brew, because we can invite different people and then hear about all different visions. And
yeah,
everyone has his own story, so it's great to hear yours.
Cool.
And I know it's the first time I'm looking at this presentation as well, and some people don't have mentors, and then you have so many, so actually I was surprised.
Yeah.
We have a comment from Alexandra. She said, I haven't found a mentor yet. So what's your recommendation from people that they're growing up and they don't have someone? Should they go to one of these links in the previous page that you had, or how do you find your mentor?
I would say, I would say it depends on what kind of mentor she's looking for. You said Alexandra, right?
Yes.
Okay. I had some other links, but what is it? Meetup.com or whatever that website is. There's so many different you know, sub chats and chats, or you know, communities on there where you can plug in pretty easily. And I think, you know, most of them are free or pretty inexpensive on the membership side. So
She
that's
commented
always a
web designer.
for web design. Let's see. I can probably look up a few links for you on that, and attach it on the chat, or do that after the presentation, if that works.
Yeah, in the recap email, we are gonna send Harrison contact. So if anyone has further question or you wanna connect with him later, just send him an email.
Yeah.
And also I wanna say inside AIGA, we have a big networking. There are like graphic web designers, there are like lots of people. So if anyone is looking for mentorship or to connect, you can like send us an email and we're gonna put you in contact with other people. We have another question actually from Charles. Let me find it. What personal qualities do you need to be a good or effective mentor?
I think the main qualities of being a mentor is just being honest and genuine. Number one, obviously you have to know something about something to be able to share with somebody, but I believe that mentorship isn't as much about that as it is just about being human and treating somebody else as a human, and you know, making goals and striving to reach those goals together.
One more question from James. He said, Harrison, thank you for the presentation this morning on an important topic. Can you share moments in your path when your mentor helped you make a significant shift in your path that you can point to as a pivot in the career, in your career?
I mean, I'd say probably let's see. I know my teachers in high school sort of had me going a lot of different directions to, you know, feel out what path I wanted to go to with business, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in high school as far as business. I just knew I wanted to be in business, but what I knew I didn't want to do as much was selling technology. But let's see. I think probably the first piece of furniture that I built was actually with SHAWN, the guy from YETI that passed away. I needed a desk for my apartment, and I was going to I think I was going to Red Rocks Community College at that point, but I needed a desk for my apartment, so he helped me build something, because it was, you know, just a functional piece. It wasn't anything pretty, but creating something that could be artistic and functional at the same time, I think that was sort of where all my interests sort of came together, because that's, you know, that's where I had the control, was to decide what kind of materials I wanted to use, or what colors they were going to be, or what size it was going to be, and having the opportunity to sell it was, you know, the best of all worlds. So I'd probably say that was sort of the first spark into that shift towards furniture, because before that I was gung-ho on bikes. So yeah, I'd say that's probably when I made that first piece of furniture with SHAWN.
I have a question for you from me, actually.
Okay.
We've been talking about like mentors, but are you a mentor yourself to someone?
I can't say that I am intentionally, but sort of the way I came to the topic for this presentation was unintentional also. So maybe I'm a mentor to somebody and I don't realize it and they don't realize it. It's just like a symbiotic relationship. But a lot of the times I think that's sort of how mentorship is. Like you can do it proactively, or it could just be like a natural thing, to where you have somebody else's interests at top of mind, and you want to see them be successful. And I mean, honestly, anybody that I work close with, I want to see them successful, whether I interact with them all the time or not. But I think it's sort of a something that I strive to be mindful of, is to, you know, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. And if we're both getting better, doing good, then that's better for everybody involved. So I think it's, maybe I'm a mentor. I don't know.
So actually, you might like this, but we have a comment from Nate Kugel. He said, "Yes, you are a mentor. You have always had my back, man." So
Nate,
I think you can follow up with Nate later.
Yeah.
So if you have doubts now, you know you're also a mentor to someone. I think
Cool.
it's one of these things that, like, maybe you are, maybe you're not, maybe you're a mentor for one day, maybe you're a mentor for life. But
Yeah.
there are
Yeah,
all
totally.
different types of mentor. It's more about having someone in our life that we can refer to. And it can be work or it can be personal, like your parents, as you said before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird thing, because I mean, it's a relationship like any other relationship, but there's just a little extra magic there.
We have another question. How do you recommend folks get the most out of their mentorship? Do you have an agenda on what you want to learn?
I would say so. Like if it's going to be an intentional action, you know, setting goals and having those goals, you know, known for all parties involved, is definitely going to get the most out of the experience. You know, if you have your goals written out on paper, and whether you're the mentor or they're the mentor, there's just a mutual understanding that we have this, and this that we're trying to seek. So yeah, making your goals known, and obviously if you have the opportunity to set a schedule or a deadline would help you get the most out of that relationship.
I mean, would you suggest people go to someone they admire and they ask them to be their mentor? Or do you think it's more something that gradually happen, that you start talking to someone, you create a relationship, and then they become your mentors and you don't even know?
It could happen both ways, honestly. I think with business, it's probably a little easier to just, say that's you're there for mentorship, or you're there to be mentored. Other things that somebody could be seeking mentorship for may be a little more organic than that. So I think if there's somebody out there in a creative field that needs help with a path or business, there's probably going to be a structure set up specifically for that, similar to Commons on Champa right here. They do a lot of mentorship and like incubator type programs for all sorts of businesses and entities, and they have a lot of folks that donate their time for free to meet with different folks that are looking to find their way.
Great. Guys, just for everyone, if you look in the chat, we post the links of the association that Harrison recommend, and you're also gonna have in the recap email. So if anyone wants, you can check that later. I'm not sure if anyone has more questions. If you have any, we have time for our last one. You can write down the Q&A or on the chat. And I don't know, I was like, to me, this is a very important topic, and I wanna really thank you for sharing your life and your story.
Hopefully I did okay.
You did more
still have butterflies, so even remote, I have remote butterflies.
And one more thing, if there are any of the attendees are like students, just so you know, AIGA Colorado offer mentorship to students. So you can send us an email on our website and connect with like me or Sam or Liv, or like just look up for our name on the AIGA Colorado. We are gonna connect you to the right person.
Awesome.
And oh, so Charles said, also hit Harrison up for project. He made amazing tables for weekend one.
the wigwam tables.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think.
I'm sorry, I didn't put any photos in here of the work that I do.
If you guys want to see, I actually saw some of your pieces that really like great, and I wish you guys could see it if you didn't know Harrison before. Just check your website, and if you want some masterpiece created, just talk to him later. just as a recap,
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you so much for your time. And I know this has been a journey for yourself also to put together all this information to share your story. You're not used to it, and that's why he makes it special.
Yes, it was a little bit of work. My son was up all night too, so he was driving me
part of the
crazy.
presentation.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Anyway, thank you so much again, and thank you everyone for participating. And
Yes, thank you, everybody.
check
Appreciate
our
it.
website,
Thank you.
Harrison, and also in 2 weeks we are gonna have Charles Carpenter, who is gonna be our next speaker for like Morning Brew. So look out for that too. And
Charles will probably have some fancy coffee. I just got drip coffee.
we are gonna look for that too.
Alrighty.
Ciao, Harrison, and ciao, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Have a good morning.